boys, and a couple of girls, and also a couple of Leylems. I check my analytics. I'm up to date. I'm woke. Welcome back to MX Bikes. Today, I guess this is the official start of the Supercross season now. Stone Rider, who, as we all know, is a lovely Supercross, ARL Supercross track maker over the years, he has now released to us an aerial test track. Now, don't get your knickers in a twist when I say this. This is a paid track. However, from Stone Rider's mouth himself, he will be releasing some free test tracks before the season starts in January. So if you are one of the people that isn't a fan of these paid tracks, then just wait a little bit longer, be a little bit patient, and it will be here before you know it. Now, this track's a bit different. So this is kind of 3 in 1 rather than just one track. So we have the right side here. See the start gates there. You do your loop, you go around, and then you get this joint section in the middle. So if you do this side, you come down and you start the track again. If you do this side, you come down the loops and you turn and do this side again. However, what I'm going to be doing today is a combination of the both. So we do this side, and then when we come into the loops, we start in this corner and we actually cross over and go here. And then when you've done another lap, you come back into the loops, you start on the right, you cross over and come to the left. So it combines the two together. If you're confused as to why I'm going side to side, switching all over the place, that is why. I think it looks pretty. I'm very excited to test out the scaling, because this will be the scaling used for the 2024 season. And without further ado, let's get into it.
For all of you passionate gamers, you can now get 20% off all G Fuel products worldwide by using code LINS at checkout. And for any of you motorheads looking for some new drip or apparel, use code MXPR_LINS15 fxrracing.eu to get 15% off. All links and codes are in the description down below. Enjoy the video and drop a cheeky little like and subscribe.
So if you watched yesterday's Sledders video, thank you if you did, by the way, then you already know why I'm wearing the hat. If you don't know, then it's because I just woke up and I'm too lazy to wash my hair before sitting down and recording videos today. So the hat's making an appearance. So hopefully you don't mind. I feel like it's fully initiating dad mode for me. So there you go. You can call me old or whatever you want. So let's see what this track entails. I'm very interested to see what the scaling is like for all these different sections, because this is going to be, I guess, the template that's used for the 2024 season. I had a look at some of the track maps for the 24 season, and some of the designs are pretty wild. Like the amount of times they go back and forth across start straights, or just the way that rhythm sections are built, looks very, very interesting. So what I want to do, first and foremost, is learn the track. So that's going to be just doubling or tripling my way around, trying to see what's what. All depends what sort of speed I'm coming out of the corner at, like what sort of a run I've got. Just depends. I mean, you get an idea after you've done X amount of Supercross. You kind of learn how fast you can hit stuff and what the rhythms into sections are. So far, it feels very, very natural in terms of the speed that I'm having to hit some of these jumps in. Get hung up a little bit there. Is this a triple? Is this a double? This is a triple. God. Right, and then we go back over to the right-hand side, I believe. Oh no. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, the first 2 runs I've had through the whoops, not ideal. Oh god, that's okay. Right. Other side might be a bit easier than this side so far. Jesus Christ. I'm not sure what was wrong with my 2 runs in the whoops there. That was very, very odd. I feel like the second whoop feels super high in comparison to the rest, which then kind of doesn't give you a great trajectory for the rest of it. Let's try, we've got another whoop section here. Let's try this one. But this one feels fine. Watch it be like a hello, front end, please. Now watch it be like a placebo thing where both whoop sections are actually identical, but because I've got so much speed going into one of them, it feels different than the other. Can we get a little triple on here? Nice. Step onto the table, step off, triple, and double into here. So the jumps, the jumps aren't huge. So in terms of the actual height of the jump, they are not massive. However, they have fairly like steep faces on them. So even you haven't got to have much speed to be able to jump quite far, which is making life quite easy for me so far. One thing that I need to give Stone Rider a little bit of slack on, I think everybody does actually before this season starts, is he's in a bit of a predicament at the moment where, at least right now for me, this could be completely wrong. This is solely my opinion because I've not ridden the 250s much, but there is a huge difference in terms of speed between the 250s and the 450 OEM bikes right now, which from a track frame perspective must be incredibly difficult because, you know, in real life, the fast riders on 250s, they can triple into rhythm sections, so you'd like to see that being able to be done in-game as well. The issue with that is because the 450s are so much quicker, it wouldn't surprise me if when making the track and getting the 250s to be able to triple in, you accidentally make it so the 450s can quad in, which isn't the most realistic thing in the world. So I do feel a little bit for Stoney. I think he's going to have a bit of a challenge on his hands this year in creating tracks that ride well on both like bikes. So I would not want to be in his position, and I feel like this is something that doesn't get taken into account when people judge tracks too much. There might be some tracks where 250s can only double into rhythms. Maybe you have to go double triple rather than triple double. But that's just going to be the way it is sometimes. But I will not be riding 250s at all. I see people asking, why do I stick to the 450 class? Why don't I try 250s? And I think it's because I've been around the game so much now. I consider myself as like one of the veterans, and it'd almost be like saying, Eli. I'm not comparing myself to Eli, by the way. I don't think I'm as good as Eli. I'm talking in terms of experience. But like, Eli, why don't you just drop down into 250s this year? And it would just be weird, I would consider it like sandbagging in a way. Even though, to be fair, I don't think I'd win 250s. I think there's a lot faster 250 riders out there than I. But I think this is going to be a really interesting season all around, because I don't know if it's just the way the tracks have been out for so long now, but I've hopped in a few public lobbies between like the LAN event and now, and done a little bit of Supercross practice, and there's names that I've never heard of before that are absolutely barking the Supercross tracks. And I don't know if it's because maybe they're just putting in the work on those tracks and they know those tracks like the back of their hands at this point, or if they have genuinely got really, really quick. But I generally think this season is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very, very competitive. And I'm interested to see what happens with the coasts still. I don't think it's set in stone about if there's going to be coasts on EU versus NA, if it's going to be region locked one way or the other. I think we're still waiting for a little bit of information in regards to that. It shouldn't really affect what I do too much. I mean, I'm still going to... My main series is going to be EU 450s. But if I can do NA 450s as well, I would like to, just from the content side of things. It being my job, the more content I can make, the better, of course. But we'll see. Time will tell on that. I do not have those answers for you just yet. Have you guys been putting in much work at all ahead of this season? Are you going to try and qualify? One thing that I think everyone should try to do, because we had a bit of an issue with this last year, there's probably going to be an amateur series. That's just a given. The issue we had last year is there were people riding the amateur series that were more than capable of qualifying for pro, and week in and week out just getting easy positions, and like their qualifying times being up there like easily top 10 in the pro class. So if you have the capability, or if you are about at the time the pro races go on, then just sign up for them and try and qualify. And if you make it in, then give yourself like a round of applause. You've done really, really well. If you don't make it in, then you can still go and try and qualify for the AMS race instead. But I don't understand. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the satisfaction of getting a good position in AMS might feel better to you than a worse position in pro. But the way I look at it is, first place in AMS is essentially 23rd place. You've still got 22 pros that have qualified and made the pro event, that I've just gone the wrong side, that were faster than you. So it's not a first, it's a 23rd. So if you are able to stick around at pro times, then do sign up for pro. One thing that is kind of been a common trend throughout the years on this gaming series is the first 2, 3, 4 rounds will be absolutely stacked. And then it will start to kind of dive off a little bit. A few reasons for this is, I think people are obviously always really, really excited for the start of any season, and rightfully so. Everyone's going to try signing up and doing their bit, and maybe after a few rounds, just like, I'm not kind of feeling it as much as I thought. The other reason being is, let's say 200 people sign up for round 1, hoping that they're going to make it. Only 22 people actually do make it into the main event. So let's say you're qualifying 50th or so, so you're okay, but you're still not actually close at all. Are you going to bother keep signing up and keep trying to qualify each round? So I think that's why we get a big drop off in sign-offs after the first few rounds. But it's to be expected. You know, like you can't, if you're not even close to making it, I don't blame people for not trying anymore at that point. If you are interested in trying to get better between now and then, as I say, we've still got just over a month now. Please go and watch my Supercross tips and tricks videos. My God, I've pushed that video so many times. It really didn't do well, which is a shame. But everything that I at least know and everything that I apply to my Supercross riding is in that video. So if you are struggling on any like section in particular, whether it's whoops, dragon's back, turns, jumps, it's all in there. The only thing that's not in there really is starts, because I'm still trying to work out my starts, and it's something that I'm probably going to have to do a lot of practicing on before the season begins. Starts in Supercross, 95% of the race. If you can get a good start and you don't crash for the first 5 laps, you're probably going to top 5 every single time. That's just how it is, you know. Unfortunately, with how this game's physics engine works, the fastest way around the track all the time is just to rail the berm as hard as you possibly can. It's very hard to pass someone without either sending them off the track or waiting for them to crash. That's essentially your 2 options. Unless you are just absolutely an animal at scrubbing, then you might be able to scrub past someone in a rhythm section by saying super low. But unfortunately, it does tend to be a waiting game, and because people are getting so good at the game now, I think it's going to get to a point where we have, let's take in 450 class for example, we have a 20-minute main event. I think people are going to go the full 20 minutes without crashing or without making massive mistakes. So the starts will be mega important. So get your starts dialed. That's my top tip. I mean, so far this track hasn't really thrown too many challenges my way. I'm struggling in the whoops a tiny bit. I'm not sure if that's my approach or if it's just because the whoops are built a little bit different than what I'm used to. Finding my front end getting inside them, and I feel like this second whoop is the culprit. I feel like I'm trying to, if I jump up onto the whoop, then I'm okay. But it's if I just hit it normally, then it starts getting me a little bit sketchy. I'm also interested to know if there's any way of doubling these rollers here. Can I go like yeet? Oh, there you go. That was nice. That was satisfying. People are already asking about fast laps in Discord on this track, which blows my mind. I'm recording this the day after, by the way. I know it's 2 days after for you. But seeing people already ask about what hot lap times are, I was like, Jesus, boys, the track's been out for a couple of hours for some people. Like, chill, it's not that deep. But apparently there's the 1 minute 50, like 8-ish, 1 minute 57. I mean, I'm on a 210 right now, which isn't particularly ideal. But we'll see. We'll see. I have no idea where the finish line is on this track, which is a bit of an L for me. I've not been paying enough attention. But if I can get through a rhythm section without coming up a little bit short, then we'll be a-okay. And this is the biggest hill. So this longer whoop section here. So if I jump up onto the second one, now that I get a couple in and it just front end dives down, I'm going to need some practice. Going to need some practice on the whoops. The thing is with whoops, every single one is different. There's no 2 whoop sections really that are going to be the same. Every round will have one will be slightly taller than the other, or they'll be slightly more spaced apart. So I'm not going to take this track as set in stone as, right, I need to grind out this track every single time I play the game, practice this one whoop section, get suspension dialed for this one set of whoops. Because come back to Anaheim 1, it's probably going to be completely different than how it is now. So you just need to kind of get okay at every set of whoops. Unless you're someone like Skills, who can somehow just wheelie through every set, every single lap, which I've tried numerous times, but I still can't get, so hats off to him for being able to do that. You're going to have to try and find a way through. That's the only suggestion I have, is just try and find a way. There's no cheat code for them. There's no one-size-fits-all for ropes. Each and every single set is unique, and unfortunately, I'm just not gelling with these ones too much. Whoops aside, I've got no complaints. Is that the finish line? That's the finish line jump there, okay. Yeah, I've got 0 complaints so far. I think the bowl turns are good. They're big enough where you can hit them pretty quick, but they're not disgustingly big where you can hit them 3rd gear wide open. You know, if you have to try and turn down a little bit where you can feel the front end kind of wanting to go, but not quite. So there's a limit there. There is a line that you're going to have to try and find and just try and ride the edge of at all times. Jump faces feel good. You know, I can triple into these rhythms with relative ease, as I case that one. I haven't got to hit them that fast. 250s might be a different story, but 450 feels like it's got more than enough power to get up and over these. But it doesn't feel like it's got so much power that quadding in will be easy. I think once the erode kicks in, we know how the erode works in this game. Once the erode kicks in, rhythms will become easier, which may open the door to some quads. But one thing you have to then consider is the erode kicks in during the race. So are you really going to want to try and bust out random quads that you haven't hit before halfway through a race when you might be in a really good position? Some people will answer that as yes. To those, I say you are an absolute madman. I have not hit this section right once. I'm so sorry. I hate turning around and hitting sections multiple times mid-video, but it's going to really annoy me if I don't end this off at least once. Well, again, I don't know how to do these whips just yet, so I need to check up a little bit on this dragon's back. There we go. And then up and over, and then triple, downside that, single into the turn. Much, much better. See, sometimes it just have to turn around. You have to think to yourself what you're going to do, and then actually do it. That's the important thing. But I'm a fan of this. I'm excited to see what other tracks Stony puts out. But in terms of like preparing for January time, I think this is a great place to start. It really, really is. Can I double? Ooh, that was hella satisfying. I like that. Big fan. Yeah. I think the scaling stuff's good. If this is a template that we're rocking with, I'm a happy man. I will enjoy tracks made with this scaling. I just need to work on whoops. By the looks of it, everything else seems quite straightforward. And with time, with practice on this track, everyone's lap times are going to get lower and lower. So if you are someone that likes comparing yourself to others, I'd say maybe don't, because some people are going to spend hours and hours and hours grinding for fast laps on these tracks, and it won't be a true representation of when Anaheim 1 comes around and everyone gets like 30 minutes to practice. It's completely different. It's a different story. I personally never tend to qualify well or do well in terms of lap times comparative to other people on tracks that have been out for a long time. When it comes to like race days and GPs, whether it's Supercross or outdoors, I always tend to be around 2 seconds-ish off. It can be as low as 1, it can be as high as 3. It's just average. But then when it comes to race time, completely different story. I tend to be a lot more competitive there. So don't get disheartened if your lap times are a few seconds off of other people's. It really comes down to who puts in the most time really on these tracks, and that's not an indicator of race pace at all. So that's just my 2 cents there. Just try your best, keep grinding away, keep practicing, and hopefully January time we'll see you on the gate for Anaheim 1. So that'll do it from me, Stony. I think this is a very solid foundation to work on. I'm not sure if it's just a me issue or if anyone else is struggling in whoops, and I've just hit them absolutely perfectly. It's just me. Never mind, ignore what I was about to say. Other than that, really good stuff, enjoyable track, and I'm excited to see this scaling used in the actual Raptors. So if you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I would greatly appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.